Manchester United 3, Southampton 1, and a comfortable game for Manchester United, right? Well, not really. On paper, it looks like a very comfortable win for Manchester United, but the scoreline doesn't tell the full story. We've got 5 talking points to discuss. Let's get right into it. First up, Ahmed Diop. Where else to start other than Ahmed? What a great performance by the young man. And look, 12-minute hat-trick, absolutely fantastic. You know, a real shining light in this Manchester United squad. And even before that, he looked the most dangerous, it has to be said. He was playing in the right wing-back position. We've seen him play there early on in the Ruben Amorim reign. And, you know, the last few games, he's got an opportunity to play in the 10 and has done really well. He's played in the wing-back position for cover more than anything else with the law being suspended. But he looked like our most attacking threat, it has to be said. He was more advanced than an awful lot of players in the first half. From all the way through the game, to be quite honest with you, he was getting into the box. He was getting to the end line. He was getting crosses in. Really, really good performance, I have to say. And, you know, when we look at the, I suppose, the stats here and the ratings, you know, on SofaScore, he gets 9.9 out of 10. He's the man of the match, absolutely. I think, you know, by far the best performance from a Manchester United standpoint. I thought Andre Onana played really well in the goal, kept us in the game for long periods as well. But Ahmad is, and we've mentioned it on numerous occasions, and I mentioned it last night, every team needs somebody who can just drag you over the line every now and again. And Manchester United have got that in Ahmed Diop. He is the player in this Manchester United squad that can turn a game on its head, you know, in a heartbeat. And it's fantastic. If we're talking about, you know, Ruben Amorim playing him, what was Erik ten Hag doing not playing him? You know, and we backed Erik ten Hag all the way to the end on this channel, but as these kind of performances continue to arise from Ahmad and the likes of Ugarte, who he rarely played as well, the criticisms are starting to come more and more on Erik ten Hag. Should have played him more, should have got better out of him. Ruben Amorim walked in and went, that guy's a player, let's play him. And, you know, in the space of a week, he signed a new long-term contract at Manchester United and scored his first hat-trick for the club. Great performance. But again, one last point to make. He's had to bide his time, you know, and he's had to work hard, and you've got to be patient with young players. We're going to talk about that a lot in this video. Ahmed Diop has been out on loan twice. He came back to the club, didn't get a lot of minutes, stayed humble, stayed hungry, stayed wanting to improve. And now look what we've got. Absolutely delighted for him. Number 2, welcome to the Premier League, Lenny Yaro. A difficult night for the young man at that right side of the back three, and the what was the Southampton player on that left hand side, Sulemana. I mean, Lenny Yaro is not slow, but that Sulemana absolutely left him for dirt a couple of times with the pace getting in behind. Now look, there was a couple of moments where, you know, after the first 1 or 2 times that happened, Lenny Yaro was unsure. Do I get tight to him? Do I give him the space? And I would always say, if a player is turning and running at you and beating you for pace, get up tight to him. Don't let him turn and face your goal. But Lenny Yaro was kind of in 2 minds a couple of times. Look, the one thing I would say, and we mentioned this a lot, and like I said, the team is going to run through this video, is to give the young players time. Lenny Yaro, I have no doubt, will be the centrefold at Manchester United's defence for the next decade if he decides to stay at the club. He, you know, an absolutely fantastic player. And the thing about it is, a lot of people over the last few weeks have been saying, why isn't Yaro starting more? He should be starting more, should be playing, whatever the case may be. These are the reasons why. I think Ruben Amorim has been very smart with him. Because we've got some depth within the defence, you don't need to start Yaro week in, week out. What's going to happen is that if you start Yaro 7 games in a row, and 4 games out of the 7 he has poor performances or inconsistent performances, there's going to be a lot of undue pressure put on him by the fans, by the media, by himself. So I think it's quite smart out of Ruben Amorim, you know, to drip feed him into the first team. He is good enough. He is 100% good enough. But let him learn. Let him sit. Let him watch. And I think it's been quite smart out of Amorim. We've seen him come on, you know, as a substitute on a number of occasions under Amorim and played really well. But last night was the first real test that he's got on the right side there of Manchester United's back three. And I think them kind of performances and then kind of games where you're going up against a tricky opponent is where you will learn the most. You know, you're not going to learn an awful lot by, you know, going out and steamrolling teams 4 and 5-0 and it's a comfortable game. But look, Lenny Yaro has a bright future at Manchester United. But last night was a real eye-opener and a real kind of, a real statement to say this is what the Premier League is all about. And he'll know he'll have to improve and get more consistent, but that of course will come with time and age. Number 3, lack of control. Look, you're playing Southampton, the bottom team in the Premier League, and a team that's on course to be one of the worst Premier League teams in history, and they controlled the game up until probably the 70th minute, it has to be said, and they were by far the better team. And it is a concern from this Manchester United team. And look, we know that 3 points are what's most important. But when you look at it, obviously this was the starting 11. And I think one of the main areas that we look at, and we'll get on to substitutions in a moment, was the middle of the park. Mainoo and Ugarte, both of them didn't really have the best of games for different reasons. Look, we were speaking about Mainoo specifically over the last few weeks, saying he's back to his best. He looks really good against Liverpool, against Arsenal, and he did. Absolutely, he did. However, he had a game to forget last night. He was poor. Now, again, I want to reiterate, young player, 19 years of age. He's not going to be consistent. He hasn't got the experience to be consistent over a 6, 7, 8, 9 game period, So a little bit of slack needs to be given here. We don't have the luxury of depth within the Manchester United midfield than the likes of Lenny Yaro in the defence has. So Mainoo is going to be relied upon an awful lot more. And he is going to have these types of performances. He absolutely is. But again, I do think, we don't need to be too quick to jump on his back. He's got the talent, he's got the ability to put in, and to be Manchester United's midfield, for years to come. Ugarte, on the other hand, Ugarte looked tired, and Ruben Amorim said it in his interviews after the game that Ugarte was tired, and why wouldn't he be? When you look at the performances he put in at Anfield, and then, with extra time at the Emirates, he was immense. He was absolutely immense. And 4 days later to go and play in the Premier League again against a revitalised Southampton with an awful lot of energy and legs in their team with high tempo, he did look tired. And I think that goes to show maybe the lack of depth. Now, big, I suppose, kudos here to Toby Collier. He came on and he done absolutely fantastic and put in 2 really good performances in a row off the bench now. So he's starting to stake his claim to be rotated in and out of that team an awful lot more. However, I go back to the initial point. Control. You've got to control games better when you're playing at home against the bottom sides. You really do. And I do think there was probably a little bit of tiredness after the 2 games. Absolutely there was. And again, I reiterate, 3 points on the board is all that matters. But if you're going to be consistently putting 3 points on the board, you've got to control games better. And I think that's something that Ruben Amorim will have to look at over the coming weeks and months. Number 4, substitutions. We spoke an awful lot under Erik ten Hag, and it was a big criticism of him that he didn't change games enough and he didn't do it quickly enough, and his substitutions were baffling at times. Ruben Amorim is not afraid to make substitutions, and we've seen that last night. Absolutely a big reason why I think we went on and won the game. And if we look at the actual team that finished on the field, it was drastically different to the one that started the game. Sorry, I have Highland on, so we move Highland out and bring Xerxes on. And it's a good segue because I think Xerxes was the key. I really do think he was the key in the final parts of that game where he made a massive difference. He linked up play really well. His first touch was brilliant. He pinned defenders. He brought them out with him. And I think an awful lot of the time when you see Xerxes playing, and the likes of Garnacho and Ahmad, and even Anthony to a certain extent, I think Xerxes suits their game a lot more, because when Xerxes drops out, they can then get in behind. Maybe not Christian Eriksen, but the likes of Ahmad, the likes of Anthony. Xerxes comes and he pulls defenders with him, and he makes that space in behind for players to get in and to attack the space. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic last night. I really, really did. He was one of the main reasons why we went on to win that game last night. Another one, I have to say, and I mentioned him already, was Toby Collier. I thought he was absolutely fantastic when he came on. And I go back to what I've said, he's starting to make a claim for playing a lot more under Ruben Amorim in the last 2 games. Going away at the Emirates, coming on and looking really assured and looking like one of our brighter players last night in a poor performance against Southampton when he came on. But Ruben Amorim went for it last night. He absolutely went for it. You could see it with his substitutions. He was saying, we're behind here. I'm not going to stick with what we're doing because it's not working. It's time to change. And he done that. And I think all of the substitutions, bar maybe Anthony, who, by God, what was he doing for that miss? Oh my God, I don't know. When you look at what happened, Toby Collier was kind of sitting in the 6. We had Bruno advanced. We had Xerxes dropping into the pocket. Eriksson was playing high. Ahmad was playing high. Anthony was playing high. And you look at, the Manchester United team when we were on the ball. I mean, look at the amount of attacking players that we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was great to see. And Ruben Amorim wasn't messing around. And like I said, it was one of the main reasons why we went on to win the game. He is not afraid to make big calls in game. And his awareness of reading the game is absolutely fantastic as a coach. It's great to see, and long may it continue, because when you have a squad like Manchester United that can be massively inconsistent, you're going to need a coach that can make changes in game to try and improve our chances of winning, and he done that last night. And number 5, improvement needed. Again, look, we know and we mentioned over the last couple of weeks that it is quite easy to get motivated for Liverpool and Arsenal. Them games are easy to get motivated for. It's your Southamptons, it's your Brightons, these types of teams, the teams that are in around Manchester United now, that we need to be, putting in consistent performances against. And I think also what we need to improve on is, and this has been an issue going all the way back to Solskjaer, I would say, is we need to play better against teams that play a low block, that get 11 men behind the ball, that sit deep. We need to unlock that, we really do. And it took Manchester United until the 80th minute last night to do that. And obviously it was Ahmad that unlocked unlocked the door in the end. But we need to improve on that. We need to get more consistent within our performances. I don't want to see up and down, up and down. I want to see maybe a slight up and a slight down, a slight up and a slight down. You want to be consistent with your high performances. And again, I do think there's a bit of, tiredness within the squad on the back of 2 really testing performances. Obviously a week apart and extra time at the Emirates, and then 4 days later you're in to play Southampton. I do understand that. 3 points is on the board, guys, and that's what's most important. But we need to improve performances on a consistent basis, and I will continue to say that, until we put a run of 4 or 5 wins in a row. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, guys. Any of the talking points that we discussed, or any talking points that you have, let me know in the comment section below. Do smash a like on the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're on the road this side. We're on the road to 13,000 subscribers, nearly there. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I appreciate it. We'll be back for the match preview for Brighton on Saturday, and there'll be a couple of lives. I think we're actually live tonight as well, Friday, for the new show as well. So make sure you're tuning in for that. Turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Have a great day. Good luck.